All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about social media interaction and best practices for it, right? So everyone's familiar with Twitter, they're familiar with Facebook, but what I want to focus this call on is etiquette. And joining us today, again, welcome back, Erin Giles, founder of End Sex Trafficking Day. You can find her at eringiles.com. And Erin, so let's talk about Twitter etiquette, how to use Twitter effectively. And for those of you watching, just so you know, Erin and I actually met on Twitter, so she took it upon herself to reach out to me and say, "What's up?" Actually, I don't remember what the original tweet said, but it wasn't "What's up," but
No.
That's what stuck with me. So anyways, Erin, welcome to the show, and talk to us. So Twitter, what have you learned about Twitter, and what is the best way to communicate with somebody, let's just say if you don't know them or don't have a direct connection?
Well, first of all, follow them, for sure. Second of all, I will tell you that Eli probably doesn't approve of this, but I don't use hashtags. So when I'm like searching for people, I know he's gonna hate it. But I don't find people through hashtags. So I, for the most part, will sincerely or authentically find people because I hear about them or I'm referred to them or see their blog post or whatever.
Okay.
So reaching out to them, first I follow them, and if I see that there's an opportunity to connect maybe in our, what we have in common in our business, or I just liked a blog post, or I read their book, I'll reach out to them and just say that. And that could be the first thing I ever say to them is, "Hey Eli, I love what you're doing in your business, would love to connect sometime." And I mean, that's really it. Just complimenting them. It's like the easiest, simplest things to do, but so many people are like harassed on Twitter or asked or, said, "Oh, I emailed you, you never responded," or "Oh, that blog post sucked." That really responding to them and being nice to them and letting them know they're, up to something amazing in the world is an amazing first impression on Twitter, in my eyes, of course.
Yeah. So what tools do you use to help you facilitate this then?
Eli, don't.
Don't. So okay.
I mean, I use Twitter lists.
Okay.
I put together, especially.
So let's talk about what a Twitter list is first, because a lot of people watching this aren't going to know that. So,
Okay.
Erin Giles on Twitter lists.
Okay, so for Twitter lists, I have some private lists and I have some public lists.
Okay.
For the campaign, I used a lot of private lists. Maybe they were writers I wanted to pitch to or influencers I wanted to connect with. I would add them to my private Twitter list. That way they don't know they're in your secret list, with manipulation in mind or something that you're trying to hound them for writing. So I put them in this list and I really just scroll through their tweets, and maybe they asked advice on something or asked for a blog post recommendation, or I'll just scroll through and be helpful or be complimentary or retweet things. And if they're in a public list, it's basically the same thing. They just know that they're in a list of yours. But really, I use Buffer to schedule tweets.
Okay.
As far as connecting people, I just kind of do it in this
Yeah,
sincere.
and that's fine. So you're going at Twitter instead of I look at things always from an agency model, right? Because we're handling, Twitter accounts for multiple clients, right?
Yeah.
And then you, with your business, you're about developing one-on-one relationships with people and really doing it in a more authentic way. So you're doing a little less mass coverage, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Sniper as opposed to machine gun.
Exactly. So it's easier for me. I don't have to do what you do, but yeah.
Sure. Now, tell me about, I guess, some success stories that you've had with Twitter, other than the fact of, us, just creating an awesome relationship and just rocking in sex trafficking this year, raising $25,000. Woo woo.
Yeah.
But give me some examples of other people you've met on Twitter and you've done some really cool, fun stuff with.
Oh, well, I've actually got some really cool testimonials from amazing people on Twitter that, were probably people that I connected with as influencers to write for the book last year. And, the relationship grew throughout the year. So, for example, this year I tweeted Marie Forleo. A lot of people have heard of her, a lot of her haven't. She's kind of like the Oprah of the online world. Yeah. And, she knew what I did last year, and she actually gave me a free ticket to her live event last year after Sex Trafficking Day. So she knew me, she personally met me. And then this year, when the campaign was about to wrap up, I tweeted her with the link to the campaign, just said, "Hey, Marie, I would love you to see, went down, thank you for inspiring me. And she tweeted back like, oh, you're a total game changer, da 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 da. So, I mean, people give you permission to use that sort of stuff as tweets. At least she has with me.
Yeah.
Same thing with like Danielle Laporte. One of the things in one of her books she recommended people doing when they launch is to create your own theme song. And my husband and I actually did that. And
okay, hold on. So create your own theme song. Okay.
Oh my God, yes, you haven't heard it?
So I have not heard the theme song. Do you have it?
Yes, I'll send it to you.
Okay, send it to me. And for those of you guys watching, we're going to cut this into this video right now. And we're back.
It's SoundCloud. So I just tweeted her saying, thanks for the awesome recommendation. Here's the theme song we made for my new site launch. And she like tweeted it out to everyone. So it's just stuff like that. Just, taking what inspiration or ideas people have given you, showing them that you put it to action, and then, sharing it with everyone is mainly the one thing I can think of at this point.
Excellent. Now, what I guess lessons have you learned maybe the hard way with Twitter? So you've got some influential people to tweet you back and created some relationships. You've had people help you out with different projects. Is there one or two things that you've learned that you can recommend that people don't do, especially if they're just getting started on Twitter?
Tweet people and, just ask for things right away. And I haven't necessarily done that.
Hey, you don't know me, back this campaign?
Yeah, definitely. For sure that, hey, please retweet. We need $10,000 more dollars. And a lot of times, there have been people that before I worked with you, of course, I couldn't find their emails and I didn't have access to, a database to get these emails. There's a specific New York Times writer that I don't even think we could get their email address for this year. And I tweeted him several times last year, and, got completely ignored, which is fine. Because some people could view me just trying to get them to share as, me building whatever I was doing instead of, supporting the cause. But, not everybody's always going to respond. And don't take it personal. I mean, that was a hard part for me, is like, oh my God, they haven't tweeted me back. Da, da, da. But
now, keep in mind, you've already recruited 60 of the world's best leaders in the online community and marketing and everything else. And you have one New York Times writer that doesn't get back to you, and it's just a letdown.
I know, because you get so used to all these big yeses and shares. And you're like, crap, why would you tweet me?
What am I doing wrong? It's not working.
Yeah, so just don't take it personal. I mean, some of these people probably don't even scroll through their mentions,
Right. Right, they're busy, and I'm sure, especially the bigger the publication, the more stuff they got going on. So, and from what I've gathered, working with you too, it's a numbers game. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
As much as you don't like it, it totally is.
Yeah, and you just have to make sure you have a compelling message, you have something that people can get involved with, you build a relationship, and then I think, one of the biggest things I learned from you is just to be very personable, right? So very personally written approaches. When we were mass pitching people to write about the campaign, getting very low response. When Erin actually started taking the time to personally write to each and every single reporter and kind of customizing that pitch directly towards them, we saw a very drastic, is that right? We saw a larger or a better response, right?
There you go.
So talk to me a little bit about that. I know this is going away from the Twitter piece, so this is going to be kind of a carry-on into the pitching.
Working with you, I obviously had an amazing list of women influencers that we thought would be ideal to share and write about the campaign. Well, I was starting to see that we weren't getting tons of response, and so I just started Googling, topics that I think that these women would be writing about, and I didn't, of course, know who these women were. So I would find, like, for example, Marie Claire, I knew had certain columns where they would talk about women that were doing good. Not that I read Marie Claire, but I knew they did it on their website.
So how did you know to search for that, though? So were you like, I'm looking for women doing good on Google? I mean, break it down for people.
Yeah, I did that. I also did, like female social entrepreneurs, but I had in mind the publication like I was thinking of.
Okay.
Because last year for End Sex Trafficking Day, I grabbed a bunch of magazines, sat down at Barnes & Noble, and looked through probably 20 magazines to find columns about women doing good in the world. So if you do your homework and figure out, where these columns are, who the writers are, write down their names, find them on Twitter, whatever, follow them, get their email address. That obviously is going to be a huge advantage for you. So that's what I did. I found an article in Marie Claire that I think they were writing about something going on in Israel, with women. And so I pitched her, and, as you know, Eli, she of course picked it up. There were a couple other ones, Daily Beast, The Examiner, were all people I found that had already been covering either women doing good or sex trafficking. So that really, for me, was the most successful.
Excellent. Excellent. And where can people find out more about you?
ErinGiles.com.
All right. Thank you, Erin.
Thank you, Eli.